Hey, what's going on? Well, today's my today was my last day at my warehouse job. It's March 5th, 2025. Figured I'd give a shot at this whole YouTube thing. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be, chopping this video up here and there. I've been trying to figure out what I'm really gonna say. I've taken I'm taking some advice from a YouTube channel that I've been watching off and on for a while. I think I don't know the guy's name, but the name of the channel is Legion of Men, and the guy just spits some good truth, and I think that's what a lot of us men just really need. I Before COVID, I had me. Well, first of all, I've been a truck driver my entire life. I mean, almost to pretty much to the point where I didn't know how to do anything else. Been all over the country, worked local. I've done it all. And one day when I think I was like 35. I know that's really late, but it finally dawned on me and clicked in my head that I'm just a cog in a machine. And if I keep just working for a business, they're just going to use me up and spit me out. So at that point, around that age, I started realizing that I wanted more, and I want to be truly successful. Granted, I should have been taking care of that way back in my 20s, but it is what it is. I'm 42, about to be 43 in August. But it clicked in my head that my entire life I'd just been raised to be a blue collar man. And you really think about today's society, we live in a world now that if you're just a blue collar man, that more or less means that you're subpar. I started realizing that I wanted more. I should have been, like, once again, I should have been doing that in my early 20s, but it is what it is. And I wasn't. So around the age of 35, I started making plans. All right, well, what am I good at? Didn't go to college. Been a truck driver my whole life. I was working local. I figured, well, the next stage is to become an independent contractor, do my own thing. So I started making plans for it. I had some successful people in my family, entrepreneurs and so forth, and mainly my uncle. He's a very successful, I guess you call it a restaurateur, but like he wouldn't call himself that. He said that's not very manly, but I say it to him just to screw with him. But he really just wanted to see me be successful. So I started doing my research, and I presented a good, I guess call it a good business plan, and he started doing his own research into it, and he was all on board. So he became a financial investor. We He wanted to go full in. He started making some contacts. We got some contracts down at the port, like pulling cargo. We got us a couple trucks, we got us a couple of employees, and clearly I was the lead driver. Things were rough in the beginning, but we eventually we got our footing. Things started going pretty good. Money was okay. Then money started to gradually get better. All right, cool. Then the pandemic hit. Things just started going south from there, from from business wise to even in our family. So make things short, we started losing contracts. Started finding out business partners were shortchanging us, just completely screwed up the business. And now me, like I'm not married, didn't have any kids. No matter what's gonna happen, ultimately I was gonna be fine. But we had two other trucks, and these guys got families and things of that nature. So eventually, we just because of COVID, man, all these contracts we were losing, we couldn't figure out when we were going to get our next job. We never knew when we were going to get our next haul or so forth. So eventually, we went ahead and just shut it down, and more or less, we pretty much broke everybody off well and made everything amicable. And as far as I know, all those guys are doing well. Now, me personally, I took it a little bit harder. But no, by this time I was around about 40. I just felt like a complete failure. I I was in a bad spot for a while, man. Didn't didn't have a car. Bills were barely getting paid. Hell, I was riding the bus. I mean, I just felt like an utter failure. But eventually I got myself out of that slump. And had my uncles, and they talking to me, more or less gave me the mental proverbial slap upside the head and said, like, you can't let this be it for you. There are people who are going through way worse than this, and keep in mind they got families. You failed. It happens. So what you gonna do? You're gonna get your ass back up. So that's what I did. I got me a job at a warehouse, and I started back building myself up very slowly. Took care of all the debts that I've accrued, and slowly got myself back on my feet. I was working at a second shift job, so it basically means overnight. But it took me a little while, but I got back on my feet. And finally got me another whip. For those who aren't from the South, that's a car. Um, got me some savings. But I got to the point where I got stuck in a routine. I I got to a point where I'm just safe. Bills were getting paid, and I'm just comfortable. But I realized I still want more than this. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm I think the last 2 months I had been working damn near 6-7 days a week, and I'm really not. I was looking back on it when I finally went back to a normal schedule, and I'm realizing I did that to help get myself ahead, but I wasn't. I'm really looking at my finances and so forth. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't splurge on anything. I didn't waste it. I didn't blow any money on anything. I mean, the only thing I can come close to saying that I blew some money on was fully stocking my fridge. Sorta. I'm really looking at things. What am I doing? Like me getting this job, this is just supposed to be a means to an end, and helping me get back on my feet, and get some bread in my pocket and get back stable. And it's done that. I was listening to a cat called Legion of Men, who I just mentioned earlier, and he talks about a lot of stuff, makes a lot of great points on things. But he was talking about basically how we as men we're meant to be leaders. We're I'm probably gonna cut this part, but it was really in the territory of I want to be successful. I want to travel the world. I want to be financially stable. I want that flashy car or whatever it may be. But I want a family. Or at least minimal. I want a lineage. I'm seeing where things are going with the women that I've dated in the past, and lots of learning lessons that I don't put on them. That's on me. And I would never be one of those guys who talks bad about the women that I've dated, because it clicked in my head a long time ago. I think a lot of guys need to know this, that when you talk bad about the women that you've dated, you're more or less talking bad about yourself. Because as much as that woman chose you, you chose her. So what does that say about you? But I digress. But I've decided I knew a long time ago that I wanted to go into IT. And I took a little class, a little 6-month course, maybe about 8 months back, and that a little cybersecurity course, and I really enjoyed it, and I knew that I wanted to go into that field. For a long time, I thought, nah, I can't do this. Before I took the class, I thought, man, I was way too old to be getting into this. I'm in my 40s. I mean, this is a young person's game. Like, people, they go to school for like 4, 5, 6 years for something like that. And then I talked to some guys who were more or less in that field, and I asked them, "Hey, yo, am I too old to be doing this?" And they all more or less looked at me like I was crazy. They said, "Like, no, man, it's actually a great time for you to be getting into the field." I'm like, huh. All right, so I took that course. And I was like, all right, I like this. Started studying some stuff here and there, but eventually working a job, you kind of get lost in the sauce, and I kind of threw it to the side again. And I started working all these incredible hours and so forth. And in the end of it, I started realizing I don't have a damn thing to show for it. My bills are paid. Most of the time they're paid late, but nevertheless, they're still paid. And there's something that the Cat Legion of Men said, and I know it's not his name, but as men, we're supposed to be taking chances, or if you want to be successful. And I think that's what I forgot. Or should I say, well, stop, just call a spade, being a little bitch about it. We're supposed to take chances. And I've gotten complacent. I've gotten comfortable. Now, personally, me, I've always been one of those guys that when I'm comfortable, things don't really get done because everything's safe. I got a job to fall back on, rent's going to get paid, or all that good stuff. But when my back is against the wall, things start to happen. I start getting results in the things that I thought that were far-fetched for me to accomplish. Listening to Legion of Men, it's time for me to get back to that. And I was strategic about it. I'd been planning on it. Started looking at the money I had saved and so forth of that nature. And I know for a fact I really want to get into the IT field. But one of the main things that was stopping me from doing it is, like, man, I was working so goddamn much, and I was working second shift. So my, I guess you call it, my clock is all messed up. And whenever I had days off, the only thing I was doing, I was sleep. studying. I wasn't taking the certification tests that I need to do. I wasn't getting my CV together and getting projects done. CV is just IT speak for resume. And it finally occurred to me when I'm sitting there doing this monotonous job, what am I doing? I need to get back to it. If I want to be successful, if I want to step out of the blue collar field and into the white collar field, I got to take chances. Worst case scenario, I fail, but I'll be fine. Hell, even actually occurred to me that what I originally wanted to accomplish with getting the warehouse job, I actually accomplished that like 5 months ago. So why am I still here? Because it's safe. Huh. So, like I said, I turned in my resignation a couple of days ago. Hell, it's March 5th, 2025. Well, technically it's March 6th now because I work overnight. Said my goodbyes to everybody. Got a nice little savings nest egg set up. Not really that much, but enough to at least cover my bills. If I do a little Uber Eats here and there, more than enough to cover my bills for at least a good 6, 7, maybe even 8 months. And I'm going to get my ass back on my grind. Get back to my purpose. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to have me a family. I'm going to be so successful that the woman in my life, she'll have the option because of me to choose whether or not she wants to work. Yeah. I figured I'd go ahead and also take a little shot at this YouTube thing. And like I know my phone camera is not good, but this is what I got right now. So it is what it is. Still trying to work out what I'm gonna name the channel. But starting to see with a lot of the content that I watch I made a little short list. Legion of Men, International Passport. Listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. Definitely listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson. Liberal hive mind, things of that nature. And it's time for me to get on it. For real. So if there's anybody watching this that's in a similar situation that I'm in, or at least something in that vein, or if anybody can take anything from this, it's not over, man. Keep grinding. If you have a dream, start looking at things logically. If it is possible for you to make this or make whatever said dream it is happen, start prioritizing things and get to it. That's what I'm going to do. So I've been sitting in my car and just made it to the crib. I feel kind of weird looking at myself on my phone. I don't really like looking at myself like that, but it is what it is. Well, that's it, guys. Y'all have a good night. Be good.